It is time for the first Q&A on YouTube, y'all. Welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is BME Queen, but most of you probably aren't new here because you sent me a bunch of questions on Instagram to answer, which I'm gonna do in this video. So I've never done a Q&A on YouTube. If you've been watching me on Instagram for a long time, then you probably know that I am a travel creator on Instagram and TikTok. But here on YouTube, I talk a lot more about books, and I also bring you along on my travel adventures. So I do some travel vlogs. I told you guys I was going to answer any questions that you had on Instagram, so here we are. One of the first questions is, what is your PhD in? So my PhD is in biomedical engineering. I finished my PhD last year, so in 2023. It was the longest, most stressful time of my life, which kind of leads into the next question of, do you recommend people to go get their PhD? I think I entered my PhD or graduate school experience with the wrong mindset. I wanted to go to graduate school because I wanted to get experience in the drug delivery field. But in hindsight, I realized that I really didn't have to go to graduate school. Like, it is not a requirement for people with biomedical engineering degrees, which is what I had for my undergraduate degree. After a ton of therapy, I realized that I really didn't go into it with the right mindset. And I think a lot of people also go into graduate school in general because they don't know what to do with their lives. So they're like, oh, I'm just gonna go to graduate school. I think that's a really terrible decision because graduate school is very, very difficult, especially when you're in the sciences. It's not a straightforward curriculum like it is for undergrad. It is you doing research while also balancing your TA responsibilities and balancing any like grants or applications that you're doing, as well as taking classes. Like, it was a lot to handle, and the anxiety and mental aspects of it was just so much for me. I had so much anxiety and so much depression, and it was just really, really bad. So I now don't talk about graduate school on my platform. Like I said, I mostly travel on TikTok and Instagram, but in terms of graduate school, I think it's a really personal decision, and you can only really decide if you know that the job that you want requires you to have a PhD. The job I have now is influencing. Obviously does not require a PhD, so I really didn't have to do that. Yeah, it's not something that I talk about anymore or really advise anyone on. I don't mentor students anymore in that field either because it is just totally not for me, and I've now moved into my new career, which is influencing and content creation. Next question is, how did you transition from engineering to content creation? This one's a lot. So I did a full video on this on YouTube already, but I'll kind of do like a quick little answer. I started creating content when I was in graduate school, and it was about science. So it was like my life as a scientist and what I was working on and what I enjoyed about my job versus what I did not enjoy, which were a lot of things. But I started making content, and I was just really consistent and really adamant about growing a platform, like a following. I didn't think that people were making a ton of money from the internet. Like, I didn't even know about the whole money making aspect until a lot later. But it was just like my creative outlet and something that I did to take my mind off of science and like off of work. It just stuck. It became a part of my everyday routine. It became a part of my life, and it's something that I enjoyed, that even when I wasn't getting paid for it, I just really enjoyed doing that with my time. After a while, I started to follow other creators that were talking about how to make money through brand partnerships, or how to like pitch yourself to brands, how to sign up for affiliate marketing, and I just tried. I put it out there and told people, you know, like, if you like this product or if you like this book or whatever it was, and I just was consistent about it and kept going through it. I didn't think it was going to be my career until literally the end of graduate school, where I was like, oh, I could like really take this on. So I got a bunch of offers actually from people that were located here in LA for me to do work for them, and they were all aligned with what I wanted to do, because what I was doing at the time, which was engineering, I was very unhappy with, and I knew that I wasn't going to stick to that career path. It just worked out for me that I attracted these opportunities that were major, and I decided to up and move to LA. It was not really straightforward. I didn't really set out to be a content creator, but now that I am, I'm actually really happy that it happened organically, because it allows me to take off some of the pressure from, you know, making this a full-time job. A lot of times people will say when you turn your hobby into a job, it becomes less enjoyable. And although I agree to that to an extent, I do think that it depends on how you get into the job. Like, I didn't get into this for the money. Now that I am in it, It is very, very nice to make money and be able to pay my bills, but that wasn't my original intent. So if you do want to be a full-time content creator, especially in the travel industry, it definitely takes a long time to build up to it. A lot of creators that you see that have really big platforms, you don't necessarily know how long they've been online, but for the most part, they've been online for at least a decade. Those are things that I'm like learning now being a full-time creator, but all of this is really learn as you go, hit or miss type of thing. So there are plenty of creators that post how to do so you can definitely check them out and follow them. Next question is, what is your favorite and least favorite thing about living in LA? Oh my gosh, I feel like my answer changes every few months. So I have been living in LA for almost a year now, which is absolutely insane. I'll have to do an update video. My experience in LA has been so topsy-turvy and so all over the place, and I think it's because I transitioned my career and I moved across the country when I moved here. So I made really big life changes all at the same time, and it was just so overwhelming and so much going on all at the same time. But my favorite thing about living here is the changes of environment. So I am from New Jersey. I've never lived anywhere near mountains, and I think it's really cool that I get to see mountains all the time. I love the beach. Like, I am the total beach bum. I used to go to the beach every single weekend when I was in graduate school. Like, I would build it into my schedule because that was just like my me time. I'm close to the beach, I'm close to the mountains, so I can ski. And I'm also close to the desert, which I had also never really experienced before. So I did go to Palm Springs for the first time a few months ago. That was so much fun, and I get to explore a lot of new things. I just love the weather all year round. Like, there is no other place that has this, and I absolutely love it. I will take a ski trip every now and again to somewhere cold, but I always love coming back home to LA. It's always been a dream of mine to live in LA, but not only that, but to be excited to come home from a trip, which when I was in graduate school, or up until this point in my life, I traveled so much, but I was always so disappointed and just so upset to have to come home. And now I feel like I finally don't have to be upset about coming home. Like, I look forward to getting back on my flight and being back in LA. So I definitely feel like I chose the right place, but it did take a lot of time, and I'm still getting used to it. There's things that like just don't make any sense to me about LA, but I really do like living here. Sidebar, what's really insane is that I am wearing a turtleneck and no coat in January. Like, that would never happen in New Jersey. So it just makes me that much more grateful to be living in LA. My least favorite thing is, oh my gosh, trying to like find a group of people and like make like that close-knit friend group. In any city, it's really hard nowadays to make friends, especially as an adult. But I feel like LA is so specific, where a lot of people that live here, or at least that I interact with, are in that like Hollywood or Hollywood adjacent kind of field. So it can be pretty transactional when you're trying to meet people, or when you're trying to like build friendships with people. A lot of people really care about what you do for a living, and being an influencer, or people try to use that to their benefit. So that has been a little bit of a darker spot in making friends and feeling like I have a community here, where again, I moved across the country. So my like deep community of people that I love and know are all on the other side of the country. So that part has been more difficult, and I'm learning that a lot of people take a really long time to make friends. Like, most people that I interact with, they didn't find their friend groups until like 3 to 5 years in. So maybe I just need time, but still trying to put myself out there every now and again, and you know, meet people and get along with new people. So yeah, that's something I'm working on. Okay, next, are you an introvert or an extrovert? I am actually an ambivert, so I am a mix of both. If you've watched me on YouTube, then you know that I love my books, and I will sit in the house for at least a week and just read books, and I will be totally perfectly fine with that. I love that so much. But there are some times where I just want to be out and I want to meet people and I want to interact with people, especially like when I travel and when I'm online, like posting videos on TikTok. Like, I do like interacting with people. I like a mix of both. It has to be a nice even mix. It can't be all or nothing. I don't like to be around strictly introverts or strictly extroverts. I like to have a nice mix. So I would definitely say I'm an ambivert. I get energy from being alone, but I also feel really refreshed after being out with a group of friends. So yeah, I'm definitely in the middle. Next question is, okay, wait, did I lose it? What is your favorite place that you've traveled to? So what is your most and least favorite place that you've traveled to? People hate my answer, but I'm gonna say it anyway. My favorite place of all time is Paris. I've been to Paris like 4 times last year. I've been to Paris a lot in the last year. You guys have seen every single vlog. I just love it. I love the environment. I love the culture. Paris has so much history that we don't have in the US. I also love the fashion. I just love that it's so lax and so chill, but it also has that city-like environment. So it is like hustle and bustle a little bit, but it also is like chill, take your time, like relax. Paris really reminds me of New York, like a lot, like to a T, but New York is my least favorite place. People hate me when I say that. I am always in such a rush. I always feel so stressed and I always feel so crazy when I'm in New York. It's one of the reasons why I didn't move there, even though New York is also a really popular place for influencing. I also don't really like the weather. Like, I don't want to be in winter for that long anymore. New Jersey is right next to New York, so it's like the same weather patterns. But anyway, just feel so discombobulated in New York, and I think it's because I'm always there working. The thing about Paris is that it has the same feel of New York, but everyone's speaking French. Like, it's New York with a French accent, and because I'm not fluent in French, I don't hear everything people are saying. So if people are being rude to me, I literally don't know. Like, it's just whatever. But when I'm in New York, I'm like, oh my God, another one. But I will say I love the people of New York, the originality of New Yorkers. I just vibe with that so much. But the environment itself, I just cannot function in for long terms of, like, I can't do it. So I always tell people, like, if the people of New York were just picked up and moved and plopped in LA, like, LA would be the perfect place for me. So Paris is my favorite and New York is my least favorite. But maybe it will become more my favorite the more, you know, travel that I do in New York. I am seeing a different side to the city every time that I go there. So there is potential. There is potential for New York to make a comeback. Next is, have you traveled somewhere but felt mentally detached, you couldn't enjoy it? Tips when it happens. I think anytime I feel mentally detached from where I am is probably on like a work trip. The one time I can remember it happening was when I was at a conference for my science life. It's really difficult to navigate a city as well as navigate a conference, especially when you don't have anyone to kind of guide you or give you any type of advice, which is where I was at that time. I feel like I didn't really have the mentors that I wanted or needed when I was in graduate school, so I kind of had to navigate both. There was once upon a time where I was at a conference and I had no idea where I was going in the city, but I also didn't know anybody at the conference, and it just became very frustrating. In that case, I then try to focus on work and work only, because work is my priority. But if you're on vacation and you feel like you can't mentally enjoy it, that's a totally different story. That scenario, I would say you have to really find the destination that is for you. So there can be things going on in your life, right? Like, let's say you want to break up and then you went on vacation. Like, obviously not the great time, but you know, it happens. During those scenarios, I try to tell people to do things that they know they're going to enjoy. Like, no matter how much it costs, just go do it. And for me, that's getting a massage. Like, if I get a massage somewhere, no matter where I am in the world, I immediately feel like at peace with my life again. So if you can find something that makes you feel like at home or at peace or just like really comfortable, and that kind of brings you back to, you know, groundedness, that can be really difficult depending on where you are. Picking a destination, I think people typically go towards the most popular or touristy destination where sometimes it's just not the right fit. Yeah, try to pick a destination as best as you can, but if you don't have any control over that, then I would definitely say to try to find something that you can either do or something that will make you feel like you're at home and at peace and within yourself. What is your favorite place you ever traveled to? So this one, it kind of ties into my favorite place ever, but I would say the favorite place I've traveled to before, like my best vacation ever, was probably to Greece. I had the time of my life and I did not plan a single thing for that trip. I loved every single second of it. Normally when I travel, I plan like down to the hour of like what I'm gonna do in this day, what I'm gonna do in that day, you know, whatever. And this trip, it was specifically for me to just get away from work, to relax and not have to worry about anything. And I didn't plan a single thing. I just went on the fly, which is something that I never ever do, but it worked out so well for me. Mykonos is typically a place people go to party. I was literally not there to party. I was there to just like lay down and relax and just enjoy the beach. So I had a really great hotel, like family owned hotel that I stayed at that was right off the water. I had a massage, like I met people and I got to like hang out with them for a few days throughout the week. So that was definitely one of my top vacations. Like I always recommend people to go to Greece to literally relax. So people typically try to island hop, and there isn't a lot of differences between the islands. There are some, but they're not huge differences where you need to go to all of them. So if you can pick one and just chill, literally relax, drink a margarita, just hang out. It is the best place to do it. It was so good. I missed that trip so much. I definitely want to go back to Greece again. I would probably go to a different island, but still, I would definitely go back to Greece again because it was 1000% worth it. Question, so this video doesn't get too long, is do you have plans to read the entire Wedding Date series? So if you guys saw my romance bookstore vlog, I did buy The Wedding Date. And that was a book that was recommended to me by a very new friend, but I started to read it and I don't think it's really my cup of tea. I don't know. I don't normally stick to series because I like standalone novels. I don't really like to be committed to one author or one set of characters. Like, I want there to always be something new and something fresh. So I don't normally stick to series. I have started reading The Wedding Date and it's okay. I don't know if it's like gonna get any better. I think I'm like 70 pages in. So I think it's too soon for me to tell, but typically I don't read an entire series. I know that's like very unpopular to say. I just don't. I like to read new authors every time. Like, a debut novel is my favorite novel to read. Sidebar, someone gifting me a novel in general is like my favorite gift of all time. Like, there is nothing better you can give me. Well, probably a bag. Actually, definitely a bag, a luxury bag. You can gift that to me. I would love that. Aside from a bag, I love being gifted books because it really tells me that you like pay attention to what I like. Yeah, I don't typically read series because I just don't really get all that like attached or connected to the characters or the authors. Like, I just love a debut novel. That is really my jam. So anyway, I love this type of video. If you guys like this or if you have more questions, let me know in the comments and I will definitely do another one of these. I like this, just like sitting and chatting. This is a lot of fun. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.